Hi, this is Martin from Vicablo in Cologne, Germany. I would like to invite you to a short gallery walk through the Sketchnote I did on last week's conference, the IDG summit in Stockholm. I attended online, and just let's have some glimpses on what happened there. Now, first of all, what is the IDG? IDG stands for Inner Development Goals, and in a nutshell, it's a framework that people created for development of inner capacities in order to reach the 17 United Nations Sustainability Goals. And this was their 2022 conference. There were like 6 parallel tracks, so it was not possible to see all of the keynotes and participate in all of the discussions. But yeah, that's my selection. I will give you some highlights, some spotlights on what I put into my Sketchnote. We talked, for example, about the question, what is the situation at the moment concerning climate change? And the question, how many people do you need in effect to create a change? And Johan Rockström said about 20% of the population are enough to make a change in society, even on a global level. So that's, for me, it creates some moment of hope that you don't need all of the population. 20% are possibly enough to make a change. So this was like a flow through the whole conference. Spirit of hope, spirit of we can do something, and everybody can just in his place, in his situation, make a change. Now, the situation in Africa is possibly very different from the one that I have here in Germany. So we learned about how training is looking like if you have power cuts and people have poor internet connection. Same in India. What happens when you want to help the migrant workers that suffered from the COVID pandemic in India? The figure was 139 million migrant workers were affected by the pandemic. So we somehow touched always the question on how can you change also situations and help people on a larger scale with some possibly group interventions to work with people in a certain way to give them hope and to understand things better. Another aspect was biodiversity in Indonesia and the question of what you can do there also with local communities and to learn from local communities. And we also had a visualization. It was a scribe from Berlin, I guess. And we somehow reflected on a very artistic scribing approach of what I showed you just in the last 3 keynotes. So this was from a methodological aspect, very, very interesting on how scribing can be used as a sounding board for a group to reflect on what they've heard. So we talked about mindfulness, awareness of your inner capacities, and so on. So you see, there's been a lot of different approaches towards this, both political and spiritual way of dealing with situations and to reach your goals. In this case, it was a speaker who was talking about the question on how you can change possibly governance in countries if you ask people to not compete with other countries, but to collaborate in a way that you are a good neighbor and possibly as well attractive for other countries. This was a very interesting approach, I guess. We also talked about the question on how economy can change, and also about the question on how you can learn from psychological research on what people need to make a change on a personal level to also help whole communities and whole systems to change to the better. So these are just a few annotations I did. You can actually look at the Sketchnote if you like later on. And yeah, we had some great insights into psychological research on what helps you and what helps others in order to be resilient in change situations and also be somehow successful in changes. And in the end, we had a keynote by Otto Scharmer, who in a way presented or explained the U process, the presencing theory. And I guess this could be like a closing wrap up of the whole conference, where he quoted Kurt Lewin: "You cannot understand a system unless you change it, and therefore you cannot change a system unless you transform consciousness." And this is possibly somehow a good quote to end such a conference, and also for me as a summary of what I've heard during this very, very interesting one-day event. So I will just stay in touch and see what happens next, and maybe get in touch with people that are also interested in this issue. So if you want to collaborate, if you are also keen on learning more about this, just get in touch with me, and yeah, I like to network on that. Thank you for listening and for looking at the Sketchnote. I will just show you the, well, I will just give you the link to this mural so you can have your personal gallery walk through it, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you for being here.